Hey, I want to give you a word of caution regarding bankruptcy and the recent Dame Dash situation. Now, I'm no business expert and I don't know his business, but what I can tell you is it seems that he recently filed bankruptcy. In case if you don't know, bankruptcy is a status you can file that will alleviate your debt responsibility. I'll leave it broad like that. Meaning, if you owe money to various entities, you can file some paperwork stating that you don't have any money, you don't have any assets, and you're unable to pay these bills. And those bills will be wiped away. So you won't owe anymore. And I'm not trying to explain it really in a really detailed fashion because that's not my lane and it doesn't matter. The point is bankruptcy isn't something that you willingly run into. Okay. What I want to say is, and I'm glad I'm not an expert because that further highlights my point because we don't need to be experts to understand certain things, right? What you know about bankruptcy is in general it isn't good, but what's been happening lately is you'll see a public figure file bankruptcy, and then folks who aren't in the know, maybe folks like you and I, will start arguing in conversation and in comments about how bankruptcy is just a maneuver, a legal maneuver that the rich use, and if you think bankruptcy is bad, you just don't know. And you have people really trying to put one another in place and educate each other about bankruptcy, but folks are misled. Yes, without being an expert, we all realize, we can all understand that filing bankruptcy can be and is a maneuver that that people use, right? Established business people use bankruptcy as a tool, as a maneuver to escape certain debt. However, nobody plans to file bankruptcy in advance. So as you try to defend the likes of a Dame Dash or whoever, and I don't know the details of his case again, but my point is when you try to defend someone who filed bankruptcy, cool. If you want to defend them, cool. But don't think that bankruptcy isn't negative just because people use it as a tool, right? Because what it means is whatever your plan was, whatever the plans were for your financials, you couldn't pay, right? Nobody plans to have $20 million in debt and then just file bankruptcy, right? So whatever you were doing before you filed, you thought would work. Maybe you were making partial payments, maybe you were deferring payments, maybe you were who knows what you were doing. You were juggling, robbing Peter to pay Paul. The plan is, the point is that's nobody's plan. They don't say I'm gonna start a business, amass $20 million of debt, and then file bankruptcy. So I'm just saying that to be careful. I think that's a little point, but it's an important point because all of the little bits matter. Like sometimes it's the fringes. We get all the fringes wrong, and then we wind up compiling an idea of business that's just so far off. And I think we wind up aiming for the wrong things, right? So I won't try to go any further with that for now, but just understand, yes, while bankruptcy is used um, by the rich or wealthy as a tool, it's not something that you want to do. It's not desirable. So the next time you're in the comments, please don't try to school people talking about y'all just don't know how business work. He really rich, but you just don't know how business work. That's what they do. You don't know that. No, that's that's nobody's plan. Debt, they plan to have debt, but you don't plan to like screw up the finances, become unable to pay, and then file some documents saying that you don't have any money and no assets and all that sort of stuff. All right, so be aware. Let's stay sharp.